one of the guys on Mount Rushmore. Great guitar players, amazing parts.
Gotta add dynamic.
Right.
In everything.
Right.
Levels, how you bend solos to get more soul out of it.
Right. Right.
Instead of just playing the notes. That guitar better take the hold and just better run it home.
Right.
And mean it and be dangerous.
Real tough cookie with a long history of breaking little hearts like the one in me.
Neil Giraldo,
Mason,
thank you so much for having us.
thank you for having me. Welcome to my Spider Soul Kitchen West here.
I love it. I love it. Well, it's a beautiful location, and I'm so excited to talk to you. As I've told you in our conversations leading up to today, you're one of the guys on Mount Rushmore, of just great guitar players, amazing parts, hooks within hooks. You got more hooks than a slaughterhouse in a lot of these songs.
Thank you.
And so I'd like to just start at the beginning. How did this all start for you? And we'll get into the hits, of course, and get you playing some of it. But I want to kind of just start at the beginning and get the history of the great Neil Giraldo.
Oh, you sound like my father. Yeah, start at the beginning. My father bought me a guitar when I was 6 years old. He wanted me to do duets with my sister who played accordion, so we could do duets and Italian songs, for my family after church. My friends and family, my Uncle Sam would come by, Uncle Joe, Aunt Aggie, all the folks would come by, and I'd have to play a song. And that's why we come with the guitar. That's why he said guitar. That's always a Nilo, play the guitar. And they give you a little like, sorry, momente. So I was like, oh, okay, good. So anyway, they give you a little coin or something. It's fun to do. So that was the beginning. And then before we get to the first song, we talk about where it went from there. I was in many bands in Cleveland, Ohio. We played a lot at the Viking Saloon, way before your time. So the bands that were playing there were like our band, which was Lover's Lane, and then there was Perubu. They were over there. The Dead Boys, Frankenstein, Rocket from the Tombs, a lot of punk bands and things like that. It was a real kind of dark club. Mm-hmm. On the Cleveland State University campus, but no commercial music. You didn't play commercial music. So the bands that I was putting together only were basically doing original songs or odd covers of bands. Because I always wanted to write my own stuff. I didn't want to always do covers of things, right?
What year do you think this would have been approximately?
That would have been 73, 72. It was phenomenal because all those bands were there and it was so great, right? So, and even we'd have mobsters come there. Danny Green in Cleveland is a big time guy there. He would come and he loved our band. And he never drank. I remember that he never drank, but the goons he brought with him, he loved us. So we were totally protected. We'd get in there, I love you guys. We love you too, Danny. It's okay, right? So super cool. But anyway, that went on for a while. And then I'll skip some of the other stuff. But then I put a band together, and I was 20 years old, or maybe 21. It was with a guy named Kevin Rowley and Roger Lewis. Kruger was the drummer. And the idea of this band was it was Kevin's idea, to play the lounge circuit, which is not fun, but they pay a lot of money. And we were all struggling. So why don't we do that, make enough money. If we made enough money, then we could work during the day, write our own stuff. Because Kevin Rowley and Roger were in a band called Freeport, which was a great band. Kevin also went on to work with Michael Stanley, too. Tremendous guy, tremendous talent, both of those guys. One night I'm playing, and we would switch off. I play guitar sometime, play bass sometime, play keyboard sometime, sing sometime. This guy saw me play, and he came up to me during a break. He says, Dan Hartman's looking for a bass player. I said, well, hold on. I said, I'm a guitar player. I mean, bass, I'm just doing it for fun. He goes, oh, Rick Derringer is looking for a guitar player. I go, well, really? He goes, yeah, would you like to audition for him? And I said, well, hell yeah. And so let me ask the guy. So I asked the band. The band said, that's cool. I said, I want to be respectful. So I went up there and I got the gig, which I thought was ridiculous. Rick said he auditioned over 200 guitar players. Now, that's insanity, right? But he may have not played with 200, but he auditioned, meaning maybe read the resume and, this guy. But I got the gig because I played guitar, but I also played piano. I also wrote songs because when I was in the audition process, it's going. They said, we're going to get there. Watch how it goes.
Right.
Okay, check it out. It's important. We get done playing some guitar in the audition. He goes, oh, yeah, you sound great. Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, I'll give you a call. I said, wait a minute. Do you have anything with piano on it? And he said, I do. I said, well, bring a piano. He goes, show me. I said, okay. So I put the piano in. I started playing. He goes, interesting. Yeah, piano on the last record, so, and guitar too. So anyway, I joined the band. So now we'll take it to the next step. I'm playing on the tour. Now I'm now 21. Maybe I just turned 22, possibly. I can't remember. Close to that. I'm playing on the tour, but basically I played more piano than guitar on the record, which was strange, right? A little bit, right? Kind of. But while I was playing on the road, Mike Chapman saw me play and said, you know, there's this young girl that just signed a record deal, doesn't have a band, and is looking for a partner, maybe to put something together, put a band and record. I said, you know, I'll shorten the whole story, but I ended up meeting Patricia through that call from Mike Chapman. It ended up working out, obviously. Yeah. It worked out really well. After we talked, I played some piano, played a little guitar. The guy from the record company came running in, he goes, it's yours, you could do whatever you want. I go, anything I want? He goes, anything you want. It's from scratch, you could do anything you want, it's your band. I said, well, it's not my band, it's Patricia's band. How about our band? Okay, that's a good idea. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning.
Where did this meeting take place?
SIR in New York.
Oh. So with Heartbreaker, was that the first song that you guys wrote together for this album, or where did you guys start? In the other question I had is, you know, because there wasn't an established sound, how much were you and Pat deciding sort of like what her vocal sound would be, and then like how you would fit the guitar to that?
Sure. Oh yeah, that's a great question. So to understand that Heater Tonight record, it was made in 18 days or 20 days. And imagine that. I mean, you walk in the studio, you better be ready, prepared, right, and get this. And as we go through the process of doing these songs that you chose, when I go in to do them, usually what I say is, we're going to play the song like we rehearse. And if there's going to be a solo, let's put 16 measures somewhere. I don't care where. Let's put it at the end. Heartbreaker, let's put it at the end. Because when we get to that end, we want to knock out punch. When that solo starts, it has to say, and your last note goes up that high. Yeah. That guitar better take the hold and just better run it home, right, and mean it and be dangerous and do it. Even the Heartbreaker solo, I know I see some people play it. There's a part in there, it was a mistake, but I never finished the line, but it was a take, and hell with it. It feels good, and I never replaced it.
Was that solo a continuous take, or was it a comp, or did you how did it come about?
When it came time to do the solo, I went into the lounge, and I think Susie Quattro, I think, was there, and her band.
What studio would this have been?
MCA Whitney,
okay,
at Glendale, and she was in there with her band, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna play a solo at the end of the song. Would you guys want to come in and listen? Because I want energy. You know, right. I want to feel. I want to create a moment, right? So, and it would help. So, so she came in, and they came in, and I just went through a couple. I knew the very beginning, like I always do, know the beginning. I don't know where it's going to end up. I have an idea where I want it to end up,
right? But
I don't know. Right. And wherever it's going to go, it's going to kind of go.
Right.
Some have a little more structure, but most of the time it's just, hit and miss. So it was, I can't remember. It was probably a couple takes. Yeah. It wasn't a comp because there's no place for comp in it.
Right. Yeah. So it was just whatever take of those few. And then
whatever it was. Yeah. It's going to be different than maybe I played the one part I wanted to play after I played. Oh, I like that part. but I never got it, or it just came out and I went, that was
Which is the
different.
part that is the mistake? Because I don't feel like I can notice what was a mistake on it.
It's this thing here.
Is this the guitar?
This guitar has a story. No, I actually used the Strat on it.
Is it?
Believe it or not. I don't know. And the worst part of it all is, man, I got to get a medium here. The worst part about it all, it was a rented guitar.
Really?
Yeah, somebody has that guitar somewhere. Oh, that's better. Yeah. So it's let's see. So it's like a. Let's see if I get this right. Maybe like the pissed off B. Wait a minute. Let's see. It's that that bit's wrong key. That was the lick, but it's
Right.
it's like I stumble over. I don't quite get it.
They probably just thought you were playing outside like a jazz guy.
I don't know. It just happened. It was sort of a weird thing. We usually do it in E. That's why I'm all kind of confused because he's a lot better key. F is
A
not-
friendlier guitar key.
Yeah, E is not. F is not the most friendliest of keys.
So for gear, then a rented Strat, was it kind of a contemporary one to the 70s, or was it older than that? Or do you have any
No, it's
recollection?
just a contemporary one. Whatever was going on there.
So bullet, truss rod, big headstock, that kind of.
I don't know.
I know I'm testing your memory here.
Yeah,
'cause-
I don't think. No, I think it was an older one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was an
It's
older
from
one.
the 60s.
Yeah, I had a twin.
That was on a twin?
I had a twin. I had a twin. I had a Marshall too, but I didn't have no BC Rich guitars. They were with Rick.
How are you getting the distortion?
Well, there was a trick with the twin that Johnny Winter taught us. It was you take the reverb. You know where the reverb is.
Yeah.
You plug the reverb into the out.
Okay.
Then you use the knob for a preamp.
Ah. Okay.
But then you got to wind the treble way down.
Yeah.
It's too bright.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't have. I had no pedals.
No?
There's no pedals. No nothing.
Did you think it was going to be a hit?
I did.
You had a pretty good sense?
Absolutely.
How good is your sense generally, like when you're recording a song, if it's
I know.
going to make it or not?
I know.
You know?
Not when it's written. I mean, you get an idea like, ooh, this could be something really good.
Yeah.
But it has to be recorded and finished to be able to hear it.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering if you might be willing to play a little bit of Heartbreaker for us and kind of see how you do it and
Yeah.
get to have some support from the track potentially. And,
Yeah. Well, let's see what kind of trouble we can get in.
Yeah.
Because if we could get some trouble in this.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's give it a go.
With me, you're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker. Don't you mess around with me. You're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker. Don't you mess around with me. You're a heartbreaker, dream maker, love taker. Heartbreaker.
That was amazing.
Oh,
Great solo.
I take it very kindly. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Trying to warm up still.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about this guitar.
this
Tell
guitar,
us
yeah.
about this thing. So this wasn't the one used. You had a rental Strat,
That's right.
but this is a guitar that is important in the history.
Oh yeah, this one's called Kato. So yeah, Kato was cool. So the BC Rich, Mosser, Neil Mosser, those guys were great. They built beautiful Eagles for him, beautiful. So I think this was maybe from 80, I don't know what it was, 80 or 81, I can't remember. But anyway, I told him, man, I wanted a green one,
Yeah.
like this. So and no kind of stuff, none of the electronics, real simple,
Yeah.
just a simple thing. And I loved it, and I would use it all the time. It was fantastic. And you know how the Eagles had all the little fairy tones?
Yeah.
Rick used to have a compressor and a preamp in his Mockingbird, which was kind of cool back then because you could just hit on the compressor or hit on the preamp. Just a straight form. So anyway, the Universal Amphitheater was an outdoor gig at one time, right, in LA. And then they closed it. But we did a gig there. It was the end of the tour. And it was at the Universal Amphitheater outside. And it wasn't one of my favorite gigs. It was the last gig of the tour. And I decided a week earlier that I was going to try to take better care of myself. I was never a heavy drinker, nothing like that. But I would like to have a glass of wine or a bourbon or something, right? I decided not to drink for a week. And I just had a horrible gig on that last gig. So I got everything went to storage in Burbank. We have a storage facility there. And they had a trash bin. So I took Kato and I threw in the trash bin at the storage place. And they were cleaning out some of the stuff at the locker there. And the guy called me up and says, I'm not sure if this guitar is yours or not. It's green and something. And I go, Kato! I went, oh my God. The soul just called back. I went, I'm so sorry. I really felt bad.
Well, I think it should be named that you were one of the early BC Rich guys that I think for a lot of players, this was their introduction to BC Rich. The name has since kind of gotten hijacked and is like a metal guy's guitar, because the Warlocks and all that stuff. But, a bunch of the hit songs that you've been involved with use these guitars. And this was very much a rock and roll guitar before it sort of,
totally
got kind of typecast as the metal guys thing.
I love them. I did. I really loved the Supreme one with the cloud inlays. I just felt great. It felt a lot like an SG because it's a longer neck,
right?
And you could really go up high. The record company wasn't really happy that I'd go up high because they said they did this. I would go high on some of the solos. They did a survey with women, and they hated when the guitars would go too high.
Right.
So,
but do you think that was really their audience for these type of songs?
I know, but so they were really. I said that's a silly thing. That's goofy anyway. But I just really love it. They feel really good to me, and I never play it wide open. I like to control the volume. And I did a gig at the Ryman. I don't know, it was maybe 15 years ago. I can't remember what it was. And somebody decided to put a GoPro on the neck. It's the worst things I ever did in my life. It wasn't on this. It was on, I have Payne's Sister. I'll whip that out in a little while too, Payne. I used Payne's Sister, which is a Guild Starfire 3. And I put the GoPro on there and I used it on Heartbreaker. It made me so self-conscious when I was done because I reached the volume control over 100 times during the song, constantly doing that. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why am I keep doing it? I'm always, just doing like this. It's crazy because it picks up everything.
Right.
I should send that to you. You should see it. It's wild. It's so much. It's almost like a disease or something. It's like constantly this,
Well, I don't think it's that unusual if you think about Santana and guys like that. They're constantly touching, their volume control. So I think it's.
But it makes you self-conscious. It did for a little while. Then I said, I'm just going to do it anyway. But that's why you see the marks on the Eagle.
Right.
The grease pencil marks.
Yeah.
Because I use that all through Crimes of Passion, Precious Time. And then for most of the other records, I've used that.
Do all of your Eagles have the super distortions for the pickups, or is it different on each guitar?
No, they're DiMarzio pickups, and they're DiMarzio are phenomenal pickups. They're
but
just
specifically super distortion, or just variations?
I think it's super distortion back here, and then it's something not as much in the front. I'm not exactly sure what.
Okay,
but I know it isn't exactly the same. But to me, they work because I drive the amp cleaner.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear the attack.
Yeah.
And just gives it enough overdrive. They make a nice P90 thing too, which is nice too.
Well, I think super distortion is kind of the wrong characterization of like what the pickup does. I think people think that it's like the highest output
crunch,
thing that they make. It's higher than a PAF would be, but not by like a significant amount. Van Halen used them a lot too, and they sounded great for his thing, and it was pretty popular pickup. Jerry Garcia even used Super Distortions. I
Yeah,
didn't realize
because
that.
you could turn them down. I mean, if you're crunching in the amp to death,
Yeah,
maybe you won't have as much fun.
Yeah.
But I need to hear the pick so I can make a cleaner amp sound and control this.
yeah, and so it can't be clean. Nobody ever accused Jerry of being a gain guy.
No, not at all. No, and they just feel really good. I mean, they just feel nice. It feels like an SG sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the shape, I like the shape.
Yeah,
It kind of works.
I love it.
I don't know.
I want to talk about "Hit Me with Your Best Shot."
Yeah.
We could lead into that.
Sure.
So that's coming, I guess, about a year later. I don't know in terms of studio time how much time had elapsed, but in terms of record release, it was about a year.
Oh, 8 months or 9 months probably. Everything was 9 months.
Was there a lot of pressure on you guys after having all that success from the first record to just be like, okay, you need to get another one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Heated Tonight was great because it was done so quick.
Yeah.
And I wrote one of the very first songs I wrote was We Live for Love, which was a hit from Heated Tonight. And then so that became a hit. So now the record company's like going, you need to be writing more of these songs. So then it was more pressure. And we were being on the road. You didn't have a lot of time. It was moving really fast. So Precious Time happened. That was Hit Me. And that was a cassette that was floating around. Eddie Schwartz wrote that. It was laying around, and the record company brought it to me. I think I had a version of it somewhere too on cassette. Somebody gave me. Sounds like it could be a hit if it has enough muscle to it. So when it came time for the solo, I wanted to feel as though you were in a car and you were racing and you're just cruising at like this whatever third gear, and all of a sudden you just downshift that sucker to cover it because it comes in at a different tempo as you notice it.
Yeah.
It's from da 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 da. Just like a drum roll,
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Because again, a lot of the rhythm stuff.
Well, you're kind of almost doing that with like the tapping thing, right?
Of course.
You're basically creating that.
If you were to listen to rhythm stuff that I do, it really is because I love playing drums. I love drums. I love rhythm. It's almost like a whole drum section.
Yeah.
I'll show it for Promises when we get there.
Yeah.
But I'll show you what that does because it's just like drums. That's how I feel. That's how I hear it. And, so with this, I just really wanted that soul of the charge.
Yeah. Was the song when you got it, like from the demo, was it even more subdued than kind of what you showed there?
I don't even remember it, but I
Different key or anything like that?
I don't know. It would have made sense to stay in the same key because to do that stuff. It's so open, and you had all that ringing stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I bet you can find it online somewhere. But I don't know what it was. But it didn't matter to me. I did a demo. Patricia and I went into New York before we went to LA to make the record. We did a version of it. It's cool. It's a cool version. I just hired some drummer in New York somewhere. I don't know what it was. And we went in there and did it one day. Actually, it's like almost a better version than the record, I think, in a way. But that was the hit one.
So when you did this, and you said you did all the Strat, what was the amp that was used for this? Because it
Marshall combo.
Really?
Yeah. Once Heated Tonight was done, the Marshall combo was on everything.
Yeah.
Always.
It's crazy how that in Marshall combos, we talked about this a little bit, offline before we recorded, but the combo Marshalls from the 70s were so ubiquitous in 70s and 80s music. People had figured out that they recorded really great. That open back cabinet thing. Like, what was the thing that you heard that a closed back 412 didn't give you that just worked better?
The 412 cabinets without the open back was a little too much low end bump, like and not a friendly bump low end. To me, I like Timmy Pierce told me once when we were making the Ignition record, when he was I gave him some of my rig to use for the record to do, and he goes, when he saw the settings, he goes, I notice you don't turn the bass up very loud. I go, no, I don't. He goes, you know why you don't? I go, why? He goes, because you have a lot of low end in your hands. So, and I don't. So the combo, open combo was more tighter. That's what I wanted. I wanted it tight. So it could be clean, hear everything even. You don't hear like that, and that's why I liked it. But now, when we were ready to do the US Festival, it was outdoor, big crowd, 300,000 people, whatever, a lot of people. I wanted some more combos, so I called Marshall and talked to Jim, and I said, I want some more of those combos. You got any? Or he goes, take them. I hate them. It was the stupidest design he ever had. He hated it. I said, why is that? He goes, well, did you ever try picking one up and putting it in your trunk? That was the whole idea. Right. It was meant for the young guy. Yeah, to be able to do it
is beastly,
Yeah, and I use EVs, by the way, as Leslie and my guys know.
That's the most honest speaker. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this question. Mm-hmm. EVs now, what do you do if you're not using a vintage one? Because the new EVs don't sound anything like
I don't know, because I haven't tried the new ones yet.
You haven't tried it? I've just as a
They don't sound it?
Well, I found one that sounds the same.
Which one?
It's made by Warehouse.
Well, it's not even.
Electro-Voices don't sound anything. The closest one to an original Electro-Voice is the Zakk Wylde one. But a lot of guys who are like, into the EV thing that are like, use Dumbles and stuff like that, they can't wrap their head around the Zakk Wylde thing.
I love Zakk too.
Yeah, but his sound the closest to a real one. But of any of them that are out there now,
are they too bright?
They just have like a stiffness to them that's beyond what even a new EV sounds like.
It's interesting. Well, we're gonna have to look into it. I was telling my guys, my engineer Leslie, I have an amp at my other studio that has these speakers. He goes, "Are they EVs?" I go, "Yeah, but they look like they're concrete. There's nothing on it. It's just like concrete." Yeah. The cap.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't. You know how someone would have like this jagged stuff on behind them, like
right. That's like the heat sink stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and they were changed over time. The EV12L, the version ones look a little different on the back. They're the same speaker, but the way that the how it's covered on the back of the magnet is a little different.
I'm gonna have to try. The
Warehouse one. It's called the WGS12L. I'll send
me the information.
That's the closest one because I've literally lined them all up. I have a bunch of originals. And I'll put them in the same cabinets, and I had a cabinet switcher, so I was same amp, and I was just going cabinet to cabinet to cabinet, and just listening.
You don't think they just need to loosen up or volume rip through them or anything?
Well, the one that I had, I ran them for probably 30 hours continuously to make sure that they were, is kind of like semblance, yeah. But this WGS one, it literally, it was very hard to tell the difference, tracked or just in the room. So
what is in this one, Leslie? Do you know?
Series 2.
Series 2.
Is it a new one?
The black Series 2. No, they're older ones that we pulled out of one of the other combos.
Yeah, that's the best one. The Series 2 is the
How many of these do I have? Speakers, old EVs. Do I have quite a bit of these things?
Yeah, close to 2 dozen.
They don't break. Okay. They pretty much won't blow out. That's kind of.
You can always get them recalled too.
You could.
We put Blue Classics in.
Oh really?
The new Blue Classic. Didn't like them at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
those are terrible.
Yeah, don't do that.
Well, you said we have 2 dozen of them?
Yeah, you're not going to need, you probably don't need the ones that
2 dozen old ones?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that'll cover it before.
Various genres.
As long as they're the old ones, though. Yeah. Okay, there you go, done.
Yeah, just don't use SROs. Those are
SROs.
Yeah.
We used to do those in Fender cabinets.
Yeah.
And we would take the grill off of the Fender cabinet and play as loud as we can to see when the cones are going to come off. Shoot the cone off. That's what we used to do. Full up, go flying, just blast it. Yeah, fun.
Well, I'm wondering if we can go through a little of Hit Me With Your Best Shot. And I know we don't have a Strat here today, but we'll make do with this nice BC Rich that we've got.
I'm trying to think of the solo. You know what? I don't think the solo was done on the Strat.
What do you think it was done?
The Eagle.
You think it was done on the Eagle?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, it definitely sounds. I always thought it must have been a Super Strat because it does sound like you switched like a bridge humbucker. Because the tonality is very different. It's different. Sort of the jangliness of the.
Yeah, I didn't. I probably did the rhythm track with the red Strat.
Yeah.
The contemporary red Strat. Yeah.
So it would have been nice, like an 80s Strat.
Yeah. I bought it. I remember buying a couple.
Did you go to Guitar Center or something like that?
I don't know. I just got a couple. I think I just needed them for the tour or something. Even I didn't play Strats that long, other than the vintage Strats, like for Battlefield. Gravity's Rainbow had some Strat stuff in it, which I have a story about that. We'll get to that. But the tellies were more fun to me. They were more fun than the Strat because I can bend the neck with those.
Yeah.
Because it's easier.
Yeah.
And the neck has the same kind of thing. I don't know. It was just a preference. I like that.
Cool.
Fire away.
This is how I end most songs, with this chord right here. You don't hear it on there, but on the master track it was, let's see. We just don't keep it in, because I would do it after every track.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for fun.
Just to have a little
Just for
jazz
fun.
sensibility.
Yeah, a
there,
little 6/9 chord,
Yeah.
just like that.
Yeah.
Just fun. It's a fun chord to play.
Yeah, it is.
So I would do that.
So if we got to hear the full,
Yeah, you'd hear it there.
we get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not exactly a chord you'd hear on radio much at that time.
No, it's an adult chord.
Yeah, maybe a Steely Dan song here and there.
Maybe Steely Dan song, probably. Yeah. Maybe Beatles too.
Yeah.
That's fun. Just having fun.
One thing that I think is so cool about that solo, I love how it's got all these different sort of moments that are built in. As I said earlier, they've got more hooks than a slaughterhouse on these, and it's when you come out of the solo too, and you're doing kind of that palm muted sort of arpeggio thing too,
Right.
and you're kind of outlining. It's like a really cool sort of like. It's not quite a solo, but you're not playing chords again.
Correct.
But it really kind of helps kind of bring it into that,
To the breakdown
Yeah.
chorus part of it. Yeah, that's sort of like a little bridgey kind of idea. Yeah, a little rhythm thing.
Yeah.
It's got fun. Yeah.
And would these be things that you would just sort of audition ideas, or would you kind of already have that in your mind as the song is developing?
I would probably have it in my mind as it's going on, and maybe it won't be exactly that. Like I do it when I don't know what I'm trying to refresh my brain on it, and I'll do a mistake or whatever, and I go, oh, but that part was kind of cool. Let me do that next. Just that.
Yeah.
Audition a part. Like for the solo, I do remember I wanted it to begin. I wanted something coming really in there quick. And so I had I had that. And then I knew I would go, I'm up here. I don't want to stay up here because that's goofy to me. So I went down here, and then I would just start fooling around in E.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that planned out. I knew I have to come out of it somehow. That's where climbing up.
Right.
You got to go in strong and you got to come out strong.
Right. And then you end in the same key that then you start the palm muted arpeggio.
That's right.
Yeah.
See, it's all
Yeah.
supposed to connect somehow.
And for stuff like this, when would you make a determination on like the tracking, if you were going to double a part or, like anything like that? Was that just sort of intuitive, or you'd hear it and you say, okay, I think it needs more meat here, I double this?
Yeah, it'd be maybe, say for instance that, Keith Olsen, who was a producer, would maybe say, maybe you want a little more power and I maybe double that or something. That it would be something like that, or maybe I hear it. During the middle of that, it's some perspective on production again, because how I talk about that, because it's so important to me, and these are tools, right? So, Crimes in the Heat of the Night was that relationship with Peter, And we really got on. Like I said, we were like producing it together. But it's his name, it's his thing. That's what he did. But it was so much fun we were doing that. When we started with Keith, it was a totally different thing. And because I was non-Dolby at Heat of the Night, which had a nice top end, a real open spread, right? Beautiful. He liked to record in Dolby. But the thing that's good about Dolby is it pushes everything front, and the compression in those makes everything come right at your face because it cuts down that noise and all those bright frequencies and pushes it right forward. And there's a beauty to that.
Let's stick with this record for a moment if we could.
Sure.
And let's talk about another song that I think is one of the coolest. I think it's one of the coolest examples of what you bring to the table as not just a guitar player, but a pianist, and sort of orchestrating. And I'm curious, like, were you doing much writing for the album, or just in general when you would write with Pat? Would you write on piano? Would you write on guitar?
Piano.
Yeah, you'd write on piano.
Mostly piano.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then you would sort of then create orchestrations for all the other instruments? Or like if a drummer would come in, would you just say, okay, here's what I want? Or how much would you allow them to sort of interpret your vision?
Yeah, people would join. The drummer would come up, Myron would come up with great parts, and sometimes he wasn't connected with it, so we'd talk about it and we'd just come around to it. But always writing on piano, because it's you can work with the melody so strong, right? And if you get on guitar, you know what's going to happen. Everything's a blues song. You're just going to start fiddling around.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a song out of it, right? So I try to stick on piano. And I was writing all the time. And Promises was a ballad.
Yeah.
It was a ballad on piano. And you do know the story. I had my BC Rich guitar.
Yeah, so rehash that story for people that aren't aware of sort of the writing process and then the tragic events.
Yeah. Yeah. It was we just got off the road and we were renting this little house in the valley in Tarzana in California, and I had a little music room. That was the last time I had a music room, and eventually I had a studio. So that wasn't long in our process, and I had a studio in every house I've ever owned since then. But I had this little music room, and it was kind of small, and I had a piano in there, and I had my Eagle there, and it wasn't a good day. Things were not working out so well. And I was writing but I was coming up with something really good, and I thought it was really good. I showed Patricia what I thought would be kind of good, and we were like, oh, I like it. Okay, great, and then I just turned around, and the guitar just went boop, and then knocked the headstock right off. Yeah, and it's just like,
oh. This is your main one that has the pencil marks.
It's my main one. I go, oh no. So it was like a tragedy. It was bad. It's a bad moment. So,
did that sort of impact anything about sort of the trajectory of the song or where it was at that point? Or
no, it's probably just don't get angry, don't get in an argument with your girlfriend, and then things will be okay then. So yeah, it was just it was a rough day. So but it was kind of, when you hear it on piano, there is like a sadness to it. Right? Yeah, and it hung as a ballad. But when I took it in to rehearse to do the record, to rehearse for the record, I just thought it needs, because of the lyric content, and I think I can make this thing kind of really move. Yeah. And then I said, guys, okay, I'll tell you what. And I love 3-note chords, and I just started thinking about the chords, and that's where I just came up with it. I went, ooh, Pete Townsend. Yeah, that sounds good, Fun 3-note chords. Yep. Pete Townsend. Yep. That'll divide us into two sections. Then we could do a bridge later. I said we could do a bridge later, break it in halftime again. Yeah. Ramp up, get that solo going. Yeah. Send it out. But the piano's very. You want me to play the piano part too?
Yeah, we can switch over to the piano, and we can play that part, and then we can bring it back here, and then get like the guitar as that kind of transitions in.
Capital idea.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like this. mid-70s, I was in Los Angeles, and I had a manager who was a record promoter, and he had a lot of R&B acts and blues acts and stuff like that. So he introduced me to Johnny Guitar Watson. So I met him, and I loved Johnny Guitar Watson big time. So I asked him, what does it take to become like a successful guitar player? He goes, well, son, you need two things. He goes, one, you got to play with your thumb. You got to keep that thumb wrapped over your thing. And I do that all the time. I never play a bar chord like this ever. It's always like this. My thumb is always out.
You're in good company. Jimi Hendrix, among them.
I have to, because I can't do this. It has to be there. I do it all the time. So, and I've always done it, but he told me that. He goes, and the other thing is you need one of these. And he had a ring in diamonds, JGW, Johnny Guitar Watson. I says, that's pretty cool. I don't have one yet.
Yeah,
I got a ways to go still, So, but he was so cool, really great. I had the cowboy hat on, super cool guy. But every time I do this, I think of him.
Yeah,
I do all the time. I say, God dang, because he was wrapped all around, and Jimmy too. He wraps all the way around there with those big paws, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's part of it.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on this timeline, we're hanging out around 1981.
Yes.
One song that many guitar players may be surprised to learn that you were very involved with and played on was the Rick Springfield song, Jessie's Girl.
Jesse's Girl.
I think a lot of people are under the impression, I include myself in that, that it was Tim Pierce,
Right.
because Tim Pierce toured with Rick Springfield
Sure.
for those early albums.
Correct.
But in fact, Tim Pierce did not play on it.
No, he did not.
That was you.
me, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us how you got involved with Rick Springfield and the story behind Jessie's Girl.
Yeah, that was Jesse's Girl. Was we worked on that right after Crimes of Passion, I believe it was. I think that record was done. We were getting ready to do Precious Time. I'm pretty sure about that. And Keith, because I was working with Keith for the Crimes of Passion record, he says, I'm going to do a couple songs with Rick Springfield. I'd love you to be part of it. And we made a deal of where I co-produced with him for the record and work on it and play guitar and stuff like that. And I says, well, let me hear it. And I listened. And as soon as I heard the song, Rick's version, even the demo, I said, that's a great song. It's going to be a hit for sure. But and Rick's a super nice guy, great guy. I love his family and his wife and his children. He's a super good guy. Fantastic, in fact. So I listened to it. I says, well, it's a little stiff, and he even admits it. I says, well, I want it to swing. I hope you'd want to do that because I think I can make it swing. You didn't need a middle eight. Let's work out something we can, do some dynamic changes, modulation, whatever. Just kind of do stuff like that. And then I says, let's get a drum. I used Mike Baird, play drums. And I always did the buddy system, and that is guitar, drums, same time, in the room, live. So if the drummer makes a mistake, we do it again. I make a mistake, we do it again. So you have to do it all the way through, top to bottom. No edits. You have to do it. And we did that. And Rick had the Pitbull dog, and he was singing the rough track. And I always do guitar, drums, no bass. Once the guitar drums were down, then I'd add the bass part. And I did that for Jessie's Girl too. I did that with most songs. But he had his dog there in the studio, and then
Is this the same dog that was on the album cover?
Yeah. He was behind the gobo there. I'm playing. All of a sudden, a dog walks while we're doing a track. Wasn't the one we used, but it was probably one of them real close. It didn't take many. And he sat right in front of me with his nose right in my crotch. The friggin' dog. And I'm looking at Rick and I go, Rick, this could be real bad right now. And I remember we played it all the way through. I remember Mike Bear was laughing and we were all laughing like crazy and stuff like that. So it was good fun. But yeah, it was I'm sure you may have heard his version, but it's like demo. So immediately it was I think what a lot of young guitar players for sure they don't pay attention to dynamic levels. Mm-hmm. They think they hear the note or they hear the chord, they think they're playing it right, but they're not. You got to add dynamic in everything. Right. Levels, how you bend solos, how the note. I'll show you in the solo of Jesse's how you bend it to get more soul out of it. Right. Instead of just playing the notes.
Right. And certainly, you can already hear you're doing there. You're speeding up certain, chords. And
you're getting louder, getting quieter. Yeah. Then you're, let me start again. It's all about the dynamic of the song. Right. Supporting the singer. And telling the story, help them tell the story. Yeah. So there's that. What else you want to do?
Well, I'm curious on that. Was this kind of your typical setup with the BC Rich? Was it the Marshall amplifier, the combo open back?
Split, harmonized maybe, definitely.
So were you using the harmonizer as just a way to produce the split, or were you actually using it for chorusing sort of effect, or what was it?
Well, I used it for
Eventide, I presume.
Yeah, Eventide for a little bit of pitch change, but primarily what I did is I used the front end for gain.
So you would boost with it.
So that little knob, you used to play a C sharp. That's the way I play with a bar. I would normally do that, but to tune that, I go, and then you get it right to hit red, right, yellow, red,
right,
and that was enough, and that drove the whole rack,
that
thing, which was made by Kenny Schaffer-Vega,
right. And so that was another thing I wanted to ask you about is they've sort of had this renaissance in guitar pedal world because people have sort of made this connection that players like you and Angus Young and have used those wireless systems as preamps that were kind of instrumental in the sound.
They were.
Was that also something that you would use in combination with the Eventide? You'd have both of them, so kind of two cascaded sort of preamp boosts to kind of help get the Marshall a little bit more
That's
dirty.
Right. But see, I think where maybe somebody's missing the point on a little bit on that is the transmitter, that's the receiver, the transmitter, which would go on a guitar string.
Right.
There was a level for that too.
Okay.
So the idea would be if you use it in the studio, you kind of want to use that transmitter and run a cable.
Got it.
Play it that way. But I used them in the studio all the time for that gain, yeah.
So you just cable into the receiver and use the receiver as an output gain stage.
Correct.
That would feed also in
the harmonizer, which was at the top of the rack, and then it followed everything through.
And this is all in front of the Marshalls.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. And then you keep the Marshall clean and just very little distortion with the EVs. And you got all the firmness and cleanliness.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did. And then when it got to the solos, usually I didn't use the pitch change on it. I would just
keep the preamps on, but no pitch. There's a story that originally Rick had put the solo down, or had at least shown you a solo where he was trying to channel like an Angus Young type thing. Did you ever hear this? Or were you aware of this?
No. It wouldn't have been when I was there.
Okay.
No.
So the intent was you're going to play the guitar on this thing.
All the way. Yeah. Rick says, Keith says, you're just playing, you're doing all the guitars and the bass. You just play it all. Actually, no. Rick, I never was in the impression that he was going to play anything like that. Maybe keyboard. I think he played a keyboard and a bridge into that bit. But yeah, no, it was I love Rick. Great guy, wrote a great song. Phenomenal song. Voice sits in there really nice. You don't need to play the guitar.
Yeah.
You don't need that. Good looking guy.
Yeah.
You know. I remember I went to breakfast with him one time. It was a Marmalade in Malibu. And I come out with Rick and the girl comes, hey, Rick, can I got a picture? And somebody, Rick goes, yeah, fine like that. He goes, is this your dad? I thought I was his dad. That was pretty crazy. But
Recently?
oh, that was a while ago, a long time ago. So yeah, I went gray early. Yeah, no, there was never a discussion about him playing any guitars on it. No, it's not a chance. It wasn't going to happen. Sorry, man. It wasn't going to happen.
Well, I'd love to hear a little bit of that if you're willing to play us through a bit of it.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure you want the solo.
You know, do it. If you're willing to do it, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Sure, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah,
let's
why
hear
not?
it. Let's hear it.
I don't care. Let's see if I get it right.
Jessie is a friend. Yeah, I know he's been a good friend of mine. But lately something's changed and ain't hard to define. Jessie's got himself a girl and I wanna make her mine. And she's watching him with those eyes. And she's loving with that body, I just know it. And he's holding her in his arms late at night. You know, I wish that I had Jessie's girl. I wish that I had Jessie's girl. Where can I find a woman like that? I'll play along with the charade. There doesn't seem to be a reason to change. You know, I feel so dirty when they start talking cute. I wanna tell her that I love her, but the point is probably moot. Cause she's watching him with those eyes. And she's loving him with that body, I just know it. And he's holding her in his arms late at night. You know, I wish that I had Jessie's girl. I wish that I had Jessie's girl. Where can I find a woman like that, like Jessie's girl? I wish that I had Jessie's girl. Where can I find a woman like that? You know, I wish that I had Jessie's girl.
That's the one.
That was the one.
My favorite part is the end.
Yeah.
Because it's not in time.
Like as soon as you kind of got it to the demo stage, it was pretty much known that it would be a hit to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without question. Yeah, without question. It had, you know, the lyric and the melody was all good, but the structure wasn't there yet. You know, that's what we all did together. Worked on the structure, building the parts, and you know, it just had everything.
Did Rick want you to tour it?
He would just ask, can you go out and, you know, can you go out and play sometime? I said, yeah, you know, sometimes I did, you know.
Yeah.
The other thing to get wrong too, I love double stops. You know, I love all that. You know, I love those. Freddie King, you know, I do those all the time. On the Gravity's Rainbow we did, Ties That Bind, I used that on a lot. I love those. I try to put them in everywhere. All Fired Up has them. A lot of songs. But that's where, you know, Timmy Pierce couldn't figure out how to do it. It's the end of it. You say, is that it? That's what it is. It's just double stops.
Yeah.
They get that wrong all the time.
So did you have to give him a little tutorial before you went out on the road with Rick? Or?
No, I never told them. You'll have to watch your show. They can figure out how to do it. And sometimes it's not just that. It's like it's just a little thing. And the other thing too is the dynamics of when that's the parts they're just thinking do dee do. They're not thinking do dee. You know, that's all that dynamic makes the difference. Makes a difference in what you're playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. What do I know? I don't know. I just make noise.
Now, and there's another song right during this time period, because you were also doing a surprising amount of session work, which people don't realize. You also did one of the kind of the biggest hits of its year, which was with Kenny Loggins and Steve Perry, and the song "Don't Fight It."
Don't Fight It. Yeah.
I'm curious how that came about. Your work with Kenny Loggins, was everybody there during tracking, including Steve and Kenny, or kind of what was the story behind that?
Yeah, that was Kenny was certainly there, but not Steve. I didn't even know he was going to be. It was a duet. I had no idea.
Yeah,
not at all. I think, and then after I did it, Steve is a great guy too. After I did it, he reached out to me, and it was strange. He said to me, I'd love for you to get together with you. And I says, oh yeah, if you want to get together, just you and I, like a separate thing, not journey, just a separate thing like that. I said, it'd be cool. He goes, no, I know, I just want to watch you. I said, you just want to watch me? He goes, yeah, I want to watch you in the studio. But you don't want to do something together. He goes, no, I just want to sit there and watch you do what you're doing in the studio. And that was it. Yeah. I never did that. I mean, he's welcome to come by anytime he wants, but it was just odd. No one's ever said that to me, He's a super nice guy, but it's cool. But I don't know who they had on drums. I don't know anybody that was there. And, I wasn't even going to play that song. He wanted me to do 2 songs, but the other one was a song, Imagination or something. That's the one I liked. Yeah. This one, I didn't. I don't.
Well, it kind of carries over onto your harmonics thing, because there's quite a bit of harmonics there. But the thing that's really odd about this song, or I should say unusual is a better word, is that if you look at the credits for all the other songs on this, it's like David Foster, Nathan East, it's like all these super polished studio guys, right? And as you said, the word that's come up a lot today is dangerous. Yep. Those guys are not going to give you dangerous.
They're not going to, no.
What do you think Kenny wanted from you that, did you think he wanted that danger? Do you think he wanted that rock edge that, like, it's hard for some of the studio guys to sort of come up with that because they're sort of trained to be restrained in that way?
I think he didn't know I don't think he expected that. I don't think he knew. He didn't know what he was getting.
Did somebody say, "Oh, you should talk to Neil"?
Yeah, I think he was very super nice guy. He liked what I've done, or else he wouldn't ask me to come there. And I was a fan of Loggins and Messina. Sure, I'd help him out with this, but I don't think he exactly knew the what that next level is. The players he had on were phenomenal players. Those are great players. It depends on what you want to get from it. And, again, the danger thing. And what I always did before the song starts, because, again, we're talking buddy system. And I recorded that one with Drake's drums and guitar. I don't know if bass was playing there. But I was the guy setting the tempo. No matter what it is. Yeah. If it was hit me, it was... I'm setting the tempo. Mm-hmm. I'm setting the feel. So who produced that? It was the guy that produced The Doors. Nice guy, too.
It was Bruce Botnick.
Bruce Botnick, yeah. I like Bruce a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's brave, too, because he heard me doing that stuff, and he just kept it on it. You hear the little chicka before all that, that bit, right? So that was fun.
So, because you start off kind of doing almost like a blues kind of double stop type thing, right? And then there's this kind of like the downbeat, right, that you're doing. And did they kind of give you any direction of kind of it was just kind of like, oh, let's start with this sort of vibe?
No, they just go.
Because then it goes into like pretty much like a blues.
Correct. No, they didn't do anything. He just played me the demo or says, "Good, do it," and I just did it. Nobody told me what to play. I just says, I'll just do it. Yeah. It's He does mention it was funny because, I've always kind of been a greaser, in this world. My hair, was only long for a short period of time at different times, Derringer and a little bit with Patricia there. But most of the time it's short and combed back. So he was talking about me when I came in there. He goes, Neil come in. He says he came in looking like Elvis. He goes,
you had the pompadour?
I had the whole thing. He'd come in there looking like Elvis. Turns out he's loud. He's like, this is like crazy. It was really funny. He wrote me this great little letter too. I have. It's really great. So, he was really thankful and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't think he knew what I was coming in with, Yeah. And again, Bruce was great because you just do what you're doing, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't start like a normal song. It was just me screwing around, and he kept it on there.
Yeah.
That's brave. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it worked out well, you know, because that blues kind of stuff, or kind of those, you know, an R&B type of sensibility, I think it lends well to both their voices. Steve Perry, I think, is very, although maybe it's not obvious from the outset, he has a very Sam Cooke
No question.
sort of thing that he does,
Totally, Sam.
which is, you know, can work very well for an R&B or kind of a blues-based sort of thing.
Great voice. So it would have been cool in the years he was working with the Journey thing to jump off and do some like
R&B
cool
record.
soul stuff, but quirky.
Yeah.
You know, not copying something, but quirky. In when I produce and what I go after is try to mix genres up.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do, and do things that you're not exactly sure, like if it'll work or not.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like a song like Battlefield. The record company said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Is it an R&B song? Is it a rock song? What is this? You know, what are you doing?" They hated it. They absolutely hated it.
I'm gonna get into that one deeply. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm wondering would you be willing to just play that kind of intro part, just like
I don't even know what it is. I just know the chicken. That's it. I don't know where it goes from there. I don't know. Whatever it was, I can't remember.
That's all good.
Yeah, but it was fun. You know, I mean, whatever.
So then, should we move into Battlefield?
Sure.
So tell us about that, because that's a kind of a departure, as you were already alluding to. You've got this LinnDrum, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My understanding of the story behind it is that there was some sort of kind of mistake in the programming, that you started to kind of get this cool sort of, you know, they're not known to swing, but you kind of got like a little bit more of a swing out of it. And tell us a story about sort of how this developed.
Yeah, so it was the first day I had the LinnDrum. I just got it.
Super expensive.
Super expensive. And
more than a Honda at that time.
yeah, it was. It's pretty deep. And then you could get the chips for the different snare drums and kick drums and toms and stuff. But I like to make records organically, not to use machines, right? Even in the early days, cutting tape with scissors. We're flying like We Live for Love, the song from Heat of the Night. We were taking vocals. Patricia would do 8 tracks of vocals, and we'd push them over to a half-inch tape, and then I'd hit the tape, and then Pete would hit the 2-inch, and we'd have to line it up to do it. We were always doing stuff mechanic that way, not with machines. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not recreating instruments or anything. Compared to something like what AI does. Right. We weren't doing any of that stuff, right? And I got the drum machine. Hey, let me just try it. So, excuse me, I got it first day I had it, and I was just hitting buttons, just testing it out. And I heard a certain feel, like it's like a Bo Diddley feel. Boom, 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 quick, and boom.
Yeah, it's almost like a second line type of thing.
Yeah, second line thing.
Yeah,
I get a little New Orleans thing, and it's something. It's got a swing to it, and I was just hitting buttons, boom, 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 you know, all that crazy stuff. And then I went to replay it, and I hit erase by accident, and then all of a sudden I went, oh no, it's right, and I hit stop. So it took my 8-bar and made it into a 6-bar or 7-bar or whatever the hell it is. So, which means the kick drum's never in the same spot.
Yeah.
Ever. It does it. So if a drummer was to play it, you can't go, you know, it's not. You could be on a different beat, right? And my drummer Myron, when I did this, he goes, "Can't do that. It's not going to work. It's impossible." I said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you, because this is what the track is." And I wanted it really, but here's to his defense of this, I wanted it real static. That part, that whole drum machine part, static. And I just wanted him to do top kit. Then he was the one that came out with his great fills. Right? So that was the starting point for the feel of the song.
Okay.
And after that, it was easy.
So what was the order then? So you had the LinnDrum first.
LinnDrum.
Then what was the next layer?
LinnDrum first, and the next thing was just it was just pads. It was a like an Oberheim, just playing chords, cables. You know, just whole notes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just a layer of pad in there,
Yeah.
and then and the bass kept the soulful part, boom, 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 even though the kick drum was changing,
Yeah.
the bass player never changed with the kick.
Right. So you didn't use any synthesized bass. It was all real
No,
bass.
it's a real bass, yeah. And then we just really attacked and ripped the song to shreds and just turned it into this thing that nobody was expecting.
Yeah.
The record company hated it. Pete, who I worked with it on, didn't know how to tell me that the next day coming into the studio that he thinks it was a mistake, that we should actually go back to
It was a pretty big departure from what you had
Huge.
done before.
huge, yeah. And he was going to tell me the next day,
Yeah.
like, we have to really have to rethink this. But then he started drinking scotch or a cognac, and he never drank before. He didn't really drink alcohol, so he was drinking a cognac. He was listening to the track, and after 3 or 4 times, he says, "Son of a bitch, I think he's right." So he
Yeah.
came in the next day. He says, "I was going to tell you we need to recut it." He goes, "But I'm sticking with you. You're right on this." They hated the talking, had the talking in the front.
Right, because it's got like a spoken word sort of.
Yeah, that was like Diana Ross. I was just
Yeah.
trying to make like a light and joke
Yeah.
about it, and the whistling, and then the massive, great vocal from Patricia, and the I don't like to use this word, but it makes sense. Or juxtaposition of the guitar part with all the elements of this paddish kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing I thought about was the Robert Plant record he did,
Mm-hmm.
with the real clean guitars in it, that solo record he did. I really like the atmosphere of that. I'm thinking, maybe I should go with something like that.
It definitely sounds like a Strat.
Yeah, I was a Strat. Yeah.
And it's got that, when you're doing sort of like when you're ending the chorus and you've got that arpeggio and it sounds like Whammy Bar.
Yeah,
Now, was that?
yeah, I did a little bit.
That wasn't
of bar.
that wasn't the
No,
bending.
no, the bar only happens. I can't do it on this one. Bar only happens with the if it that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But that's definitely a bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't do it. You can't do it much with the Stratocaster. That's a problem,
Because of the tuning.
and make it nuts.
Yeah.
Piss you off. So
Right. And you couldn't use a Floyd Rose because of.
no. So, but yeah.
Are you willing to show us a little bit of it? I know that
Yeah.
you had said you don't have a Strat, but maybe we can approximate a little
Sure.
bit of the.
I do it. I play it differently now. I could try doing it like a little crossbreed. With it. Let's see.
We are young, hearted to heart. We stand. No promises, no demands.
Yeah, I love this because this is a little combination of maybe how you play live now versus how it was, with all the fills and stuff like
Definitely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It adds more like girth to it. Because trying to get that dynamic, with a real clean, after you've been hitting Hells for Children and everything else, at that point, you kind of like, it's hard to get there.
So how did you get it that clean? It didn't sound like it was a Marshall.
No, that was a JC, what is it?
120.
JC 120, Roland JC 120,
Jazz, yeah.
yes. It was that.
And did you use any of the chorus from it, or was it just the reverb?
No, I think I used a little chorus with it, especially for the little plucky though. I think a little bit of that. I actually used that JC 120 for the solo in Shadows of the Night too.
Really?
The anti-solo, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'd use the distortion thing where you turn it all the way up. That like, the compression just brutalizes the note. Yeah.
Love
I did
that.
for Anthem was an anti-solo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, man. So, but yeah, clean. And the guitar was probably the last thing after I had everything else going for the track, because I knew the feel I wanted, and I had it as a landscape that was great because it enabled Patricia to be the focal star, like, and the rhythm was just kind of just her like umbrella.
Yeah.
And then she could blast and do everything. And everything else didn't get in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Felt right.
You've had this incredible career,
thank you.
Can you think of, was there any particular decision or thing that happened that if that had gone a different direction that you think that the trajectory of your career would have been different?
Yeah, probably. Sure.
Is there a moment that you can think of that you think was like the defining moment that kind of moved you in the direction that it did?
Yeah, joining Derringer.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I don't know where I could have ended up or where it would have been, but that from that year and a half with Derringer, I learned so much, that I was prepared to tackle anything. Because my piano, I was playing so much piano, and I was a much more rounded musician. I could play drums, not very good. I got a couple beats I'm really good at, but that's it. But guitar and piano, I could get anywhere I needed to go.
Yeah,
I felt.
And by what record would you say, with you and Pat, did you kind of feel like you were pretty secure in your sort of career as a musician? Was it like after the first one, or at what point did you feel like you were kind of like, all right, we've made it here? And
probably it was probably after Precious Time. It wasn't that much fun making that record, Precious Time, because at that point I was already moving forward to a different sound.
Yeah.
I wanted something different. So I went, I got to do something different here. It was enough. 2 records in a row that were very similar. I needed to get out of that.
Yeah.
So I knew at that point I could explore anything, and I wasn't afraid.
Do you remember like when you first got like a first really big like record check? You remember like the first like big thing you like spent money on, like after you were getting some, professional money?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I know that after Heated and Night did so great, I went gold. I remember the business manager said, I said, can we get a car or something like that? You can only rent a car, a Toyota Celica. I said, wait a minute.
It's a perfect car for greaser.
I said, yeah, I know, that's true. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Do you park it around the corner when you go to your motor club meeting?
yeah, hide it. Yeah, there's no way. But we just couldn't believe it. You go, what? This just doesn't make any sense. But then, when Crimes of Passion went to 6 million and stuff, and I didn't. It was studio gear.
Yeah,
I bought studio gear. I bought
like a true musician.
Yeah, I didn't care. I just wanted that. And by that point, I had studios in my house, after Crimes of Passion, after Precious Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was buying Fairchilds and MT250s, all kinds of stuff.
Are there ever any songs, either songs we played today or any of them in your catalog, where when you listen to them, you wish you had done something different, or you're like, oh, I don't like that note. Or
Well, yeah, because but at the same time, it's like I know the moment, and there's danger in some of those moments because they were live, right?
Yeah.
So, there's some songs I think it would have been cooler to do it slower or maybe do this to it. But for the most part, I'm kind of settled on what it was, right? It didn't matter. It's just a moment, that day. You just happen to get that day. Because the beauty of this stuff is that when you listen to the takes on either side of the take that you make, the one that's the master,
right.
they don't sound anything the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is. When you get that master, you try one after that, forget it. The one before, not even close. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
That's when you know you got it,
What about a few gear questions before we wrap up?
Yeah.
Guitar strings. What do you use now? What did you use sort of historically?
Well, I was in 12s, 11 and 12s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I got the arthritic thumb. And we were tuning to E, regular tuning. So the 11s, we would 11, sometimes stretched to 12 to 60 or 59.
And what were you using back then?
Yeah.
Like what brand?
Oh, let's see. I was probably using Ernie Balls probably back then.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a particular company until Diodario. I just GHS, I think, was a
GHS.
brand as well.
Yeah.
I like those.
So now you're
Diodario. Yeah, they're great. Yeah, they're great string.
Yeah, and I saw you had some of their cables in here too.
Oh yeah, they give me cables, everything. Strings, I can't tell the difference between.
What do you use now? Are you still using 11s and 12s?
No, I went lighter. I went to like 10s for E. Was it E flat? 10s for E flat and 9.5 for E. But I think they're too thin. I don't know. These I think are 10 to something. I mean, they're not too thin, but they're not too thick. But the low ends get a little thicker. But I think I'm going upper again, heavier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like with these the guitar. But now here, Les Paul is a shorter scale, so they bend easier.
Right. You think on a Strat you would have to do 10s then?
But this is the same as that.
Yeah, this is a Strat scale?
Well, it's long as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like really long. Same as the SG. They got that long distance, so it's harder to pull on them. But yeah, I'd probably do 10, maybe 10.5s or something on E.
Yeah.
Something like that. 10.5 to 52 or something.
Right.
Odd numbers.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And any other pedals or stuff like that? I know we talked about using the Eventide as sort of a preamp. We talked about the Schaffer as a preamp, and for both the receiver and the pack. Mm-hmm. Any other things that were kind of like in the rotation often?
Ibanez, at the same time, Eventide was using the certain chips that had a certain sound to them. Even when I was talking to the owner of Eventide, he was saying, yeah. And I would talk to him, he goes, how did you know about that? I says, because my ears told me there was a certain sound that they had, and I know when you changed them. Eventide, Ibanez did too. Like you could take, I have an Ibanez delay, analog delay, with the little LEDs and stuff like that. That has a sound to it when you just go in it. You could crush the input on those a little bit. That's the difference.
Just a pedal style one, you're saying?
No, it's a rack mounted.
The rack mounted one, okay, yeah.
Rack mounted one. Chorus delay, DDL.
Yeah.
But I love Rocket stuff. Chris Fantassel's, his pedals they're all great. They all have a certain color. I have one that's clean one.
Yeah, I saw that.
I told him I loved it so much. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
He says, we don't make them anymore. I said, go find some. It's meant for clean, but more volume with the clean thing, which is cool. But pedals for front end gain is the way to go. I like the front end gain, and that's kind of it. Yeah. Really.
No processing stuff. Other delays or choruses or anything like that they use.
No. I like a little slap delay. And I also like, it's funny, that I do use delay sometimes with like a solo or something like that. But it's always 3 against 4. Yeah. It's not in time. So if the beat is here, it's not dot, it's dot,
some more rhythmic.
It's all upbeats. That Pat Martino when I had this, because Pat Martino's a genius. That guy's mind should be like added to science because it's insane. His mind was insane. But he was talking about some players that are upstroke players and downstroke players. He's an upstroke, and I'm an upstroke. A lot of things I do, I'm always upstroke, not a lot of down. Like BB King's all down, everything's down. I'm always going up. So when I use the pick, I use the sandy side. That's how come I get a nice edge on that upstroke.
Right. So you get kind of like almost like a grittiness to the string sound
yeah.
because you're using the fat side of the pick,
Yeah,
instead of the pointed side.
correct.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of, those are all, it's
Right.
not downstroke, everything, a lot of that. It's a lot. I mean, a lot of people,
Yeah.
they do it. I love the upstroke.
Right, and kind of the sort of the sandpaperiness kind of gets that scratchiness against the string. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's how I play it. I love playing like that. And it cuts through and it just
Yeah.
feels good, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
So, and I love these Herco, what do you call it? They used to be Hercos, but Diodario makes them for me now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just on one side. You got the
just a little sandy side.
yeah. Well, Neil, I'm so appreciative for all the time that you've taken with us today, taking us through your catalog, entertaining us, playing these great songs, and I just thank you, for me and everybody else that's watching this about your contribution to music, shaping rock and roll and pop through your guitar playing, your production. So just thank you for everything.
Thank you very
Yeah.
kindly, Mason. I appreciate you. Thank you. I hope somebody can get some enjoyment from it
Yeah.
and kind of see what's happening. Maybe it helps them in their playing, or maybe it makes them realize the mistakes I made really suck and they shouldn't do that. Because there's always that, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Learn somebody's mistakes so you don't do the same thing.
And if people want to see what you're up to, touring or any of the other endeavors you have going on, where can they learn more about that?
So I do have a spirits company. Actually, this month, the month of May, was May 12th, 2016 is when I created 3-Chord Bourbon, a bourbon company. And it was what happened was I was working on a screenplay, and I write other things besides songs. I've got a couple books going and screenplays and things of that nature too. But I was working on a hybrid documentary because I wanted to give the attention to some of the local musicians I played with growing up, giving them a spotlight, right, during interviews. But I wanted it to be quirky. Not in context to Cigarettes and Coffee, that film, but quirky, And on either side of this hybrid documentary is actually real acting and real stuff going on, right? And then you got the interview section in the middle. So I started this thing, and a friend of mine got a hold of me. He says, you know what? If you want to get a trailer done, that I know a couple of spirits companies that can maybe give us some angel investing. We can get a trailer made. And I just said, why don't we start our own? And he thought I was kidding. And so I said, let's start our own. And I did that day. It was May 16th, May 12th, 2016.
Wow.
3-Chord Bourbon. And, when you have a company that goes on, I have a great team, basically. They're a phenomenal team. They're all great. Men and women are just phenomenal. It's run like a democracy, meaning everybody has a vote. It's not just me because I'm the founder and owner. There's other owners. We collect other people to be part of this company. And what we're doing now is we've got a backstage series where we have bands being able to make their own blends through the 3-Chord Bourbon brand, the model, and then they can be able to sell that to their fans or whatever. I'm not encouraging drinking to where you stand on tables and you drink too much. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm not subscribing to that. I'm talking about sipping, talking, playing instruments, having a good time, communication, right? So I have a great collection of bands. If you go to 3chordbourbon.com, you can read about all of them. Man, I got some great bands, tremendous talent that have their own labels. They do their own labels. They do their own blends. We give them the different spirits, and they do their own blends. So they have it unique to themselves. So.
Great.
So yeah, it's a fun company. They're great, like I said, great people working there, and the company's growing. I think we're going to make a big headway, and there we are, right there.
Yeah.
3-Chord
All right.
Whiskey Drummer.
All right.
Yeah. All the social media outlets, the Facebook and Instagram and all that other stuff. There are some projects I'm working on right now that are going to be super fun.
Yeah.
And they're going to be creating in my organic studio here, which is everybody's playing on the buddy system.
All right.
And we're going to play. We're going to create moments. And I'm going to do a thing that I haven't done in a long time, is I'm going to continue writing, which I have been, writing the song, writing the melody, but I'm going to start using the guitar more riff-based things.
Yeah.
Little more coming from the guitar now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna try. See
All
what
right.
happens. Yeah, some again mixing rhythms and crazy, because rhythm is really important to me. So let's see what happens.
Awesome.
I got some up my sleeve. That's pretty good. And I'm wearing short sleeves, so I don't know what it is. I don't make sense. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, good man.